Hey, g'day everybody, it's Matt here from Matt Carve. So we are looking at this today. It is the Dremel engraving kit slash carving kit. And I know what you're thinking, these Dremel accessories are expensive, and I kind of agree with you. But I kind of think if you're gonna buy Dremel, you're buying good quality, and you also, if you're gonna buy a kit like this, you're actually lowering the price of each accessory. Now this is the kit here, and you can sort of see there are 11 pieces in it, 2 diamond burrs. These are cutter burrs along here, so we have 4 cutter burrs, and these sort of like stone engraving burrs, or what are they called? Grinding and sharpening burrs. Okay, so let's go through this packet one by one. And you can see this is the wheel point burr. Now I've talked about this burr quite a bit. I've made a special video about it, but just to sort of say about it, it's kind of a sphere and it's a diamond bit. So what the good thing about it is it's very small, it's less than 2 millimeters across, and it's very good at details and smoothing out little rough parts and sort of like, say, the eye.
And so you can see me here, I'm just taking off the rough parts here on the eye, and you can sort of like take the edges down as well. You could sort of probably thin that eyelid out as well. Maybe sort of like do a little bit of shaping with it. You can sort of see there I'm putting a little bit of a concave just under that part of the eyelid. I'm not sure if that's realistic, but I just kind of felt like doing it, you know. And yeah, so I'm just sort of like thinning the eyelid out there so it sort of like sits more on the eye. And I'm going really, really lightly just over it, you know, sort of pretend you're sort of like sketching with a pencil when you're using this on really delicate kind of minute sort of details. And I have actually used this to engrave on metal as well. It's quite good at that if you want to put your name on your metal tools and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, so we're going to put this burr in next, and what you can sort of see with these Dremel burrs is the shanks are very, very true. When we put them in the Dremel, we can put them quite a long way out and they will remain true. You find sort of like the cheaper burrs, they might have just a little bit of a bend in it, and so it will affect the end. So we'll just turn that on, and that is pretty true. Now a lot of people would say you need to put the burr further into the Dremel, but actually when you're using a diamond burr you can go further out because you're not putting a lot of pressure on it. It's only really when you're putting a lot of pressure on it, it's going to be pushing up on it. But when you're sort of doing diamond work, you're sort of going very lightly, so it's okay to go further out.
And having that burr farther out in the Dremel is quite handy sometimes because you've got to get past the nose on the carving and all those kind of things. So yeah, just sort of like adjust the length of the shaft depending on your carving. And sort of, yeah, so just remember that with diamond burrs, you're not really pressing that hard. It's sort of like a real soft touch. And you kind of always want to have a look at your burrs to see what kind of shape they are. You can sort of see the flat top on that one. That's going to leave a line in the wood. And the side, that will be good for smoothing out. So sort of like that, just that edge there, you can sort of see it can put a nice little line in there, which might be quite handy for wrinkles and all of that kind of stuff. And a lot of the time you can use sort of like both edges. So we've got the little part that makes the line and the side of the burr. So say we're putting in that crease around the nasal part. You can sort of see the line going in, and the flat part of the burr is just smoothing out that sort of like bulbous part of the nose. And burrs like this are really good for like smoothing out the pupil of the eye. You can sort of see there is a little bit of an edge there. If you sort of like just smoothly go over it, try not to get that end bit on it, the edge, because you will leave lines in the pupil. But I'm just sort of using that flat part and just gradually sort of like smoothing out the pupil there. Looks a lot better there. And you'd turn it upside down and do the other side as well. I can actually use the top there, just take that, smooth out the top of the eyelid, the bottom of the eyelid there. There's all these kind of like little tricks you can do with each burr. There's a lot of crossover when it comes to burrs, and that's all good. It's just a matter of experimenting, really. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at this cutter burr. And you can see this isn't a sphere, it's got a flat top, so it's got a real sharp edge to get in those really nice little lines like that. Just be really careful in the softwood because it does cut in quite easily. And where cutter burrs are exceptional is in carving hardwoods like this Jara Viking that I did quite a while ago. So I'm just sort of like showing you there how it cuts into it.
Okay, so now we have these 3 sphere burrs. These are all cutter burrs, and they're just different sizes really. So yeah, you're going to be using these as hardwoods, or you can use them in the softwood as well. But just be aware that these cut really fast in softwood and are likely to dig into the softwoods.
And I carved this little memento mori skull a little while ago, and I'm just using the cutter burr there to sort of like show you kind of where you would use it on these kind of carvings. Now this is made out of ebony, which is an extremely hard wood, and I'm just sort of like taking the background back a little bit like that. It's sort of like it's much like all sort of like fine carving. I tend to go back and forward, just taking little bits off and trying to sort of like blend it into the rest of the coin. And this is the smallest of these spheres, and I'm just sort of like trying to sort of like show you can use it for really fine detail, just sort of going in underneath that sort of bone that goes back from the eye socket, and just putting sort of like almost like an undercut in there. And you would use a diamond burr like I showed you kind of before to sort of smooth out those rough patches that was left by the cutter burrs, and then you would sort of like sandpaper it down as well. Okay, so that is the whole pack. Now I haven't gone through those grinding ones on the left, but I've just been through the ones on the right. And if you were to calculate how much they were to buy individually, they would be maybe around about 35 American. Now you can get these on special sometimes as low as like $11 for this whole pack. But usually it's around $16, but I think at the moment it is $11, so just check that out before you buy it. I will leave a link in the description below, and hey, thank you for watching, and happy carving everybody. Bye.